So we got a full house tonight. This is the transfer review special. Stoppage Time FC. Stoppage Time Football Club is a Facebook group. Of course, the YouTube channel, Stoppage Time Football Club. Zach, Diego, Joe. We got a new, I'm not even going to call him a guest. We've known him for a while. We got our main man, Ron Swanson, if you're on Facebook. If you're outside of Facebook, it's Jack. Listen, we're going to get right to it. The transfer window just closed, man. Today is February 1st as we're taping this. Guys, I know there are two people on here who feel real good about what happened. There's another guy who probably is like, whatever. Another guy sitting in first place in La Liga, so he's probably okay with what's happening. And then there's me. So let's start with the people. So let me start with Joe and Diego first, since they don't have on the transfer front as much to discuss. Joe, how do you feel about Man City kind of sitting this one out? Except for one really move that really surprised me. But let's talk about it.
Yeah, we were all quiet for the most part leading up till about deadline day. We signed a young midfielder from Argentina, Maximo Perron, and he is going to be joining us shortly now that Argentina's U20 team is out of this other American championship for that age group.
Hey, quick question. Who knocked them out?
Who knocked them out? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
They lost their last game, I think, to Peru. They needed to win that game.
They lost to Brazil too, right?
They did lose to Brazil. And your boys, Santos, new Chelsea signing, is having a great tournament.
So Maximo is the only incoming member. He did not want to go out on loan, so he's going to be joining the first team. He will likely not see many minutes on the field, but he will get a lot of valuable training time action with our first team guys. And then deadline day, we had a little situation with our starting left back. Mr. Joao Cancelo is no longer with us. He is on loan with Bayern Munich. He hopped in the game today with them and quickly found a cross for Choupo-Moting and went about getting some more assists for Bayern now. There was a training ground bust up with Pep, and he was not thrilled with not getting the game time that he felt he had deserved and earned already, even though he was not performing well when he was given game time. So he requested to leave and was no longer wanting to be a part of what we got going on. So he is gone on transfer deadline day, and we were not going to be bringing in a replacement at that time. So it looks like for us going forward, it's going to be a combination of Ake, maybe a little Laporte mixed in there, and occasionally, hopefully not too much of Sergio Gomez, who has not performed well when he's been given some game time. So the left back situation is a little less than ideal right now. And Nathan Ake has played really well at that position, but he doesn't offer nearly as much going forward as guys like Cancelo does. He's very, very good defensively, but our offensive game suffers a little bit because he's just not accustomed to playing in that position the way Pep would like fullbacks to play. So I'm glad we didn't panic buy someone just to fill a spot. Sometimes these things are addition by subtraction, and we've had a little bit of locker room disharmony recently, and from what I understand, some of that surrounded Joao. So this might be an addition by subtraction. Unfortunately, we lose some quality, a lot of quality, but if it creates more harmony in the dressing room, then I'm very happy, because that's a big deal in Manchester.
Don't you have a young guy back there too? Youth academy player that's been playing defense?
On the left side, it was Josh Esbrin Wilson, but we loaned him out earlier in the window to another club. And the only other left back dedicated we got is Sergio Gomez, because Rico is more of a right back. He's not going to.
That's who I'm thinking of. Is Rico.
So, and Kyle's obviously not really a left back either. So those two are going to be rotating in that right back spot. Mm-hmm. What's frustrating to me about this whole situation is that if he really felt like this and didn't want to be here, we should have done something about this in the summertime and kept your guy now, Ronnie, and kept Zinchenko in Manchester, because he was somebody who clearly wanted to be here and loved the club through and through. And now he's wearing red and in first place above us. So I would have really liked to keep him if this was going to be the case with Joao, but that's hindsight at this point.
Diego, how do you feel about where Barcelona sits now that the window's closed?
I think Barcelona is in good shape right now. Top of the table. Have a pretty good lead on Real Madrid and Real Sociedad, who has been the big story in La Liga this year. Right now, sitting in the top 3, playing some really good football right now. In terms of the transfer, they had Hector Bellerin going out to Sporting Lisboa in Portugal. And the big thing for Barcelona was getting Gavi listed as a first team member. And that was their biggest struggle. They ran into issues there. And finally this week that went through. He's now listed as first team player, going from number 30 to number 6. So now huge, but there was Xavi Iniesta as 8 and 6 in the past during the golden days, and now they have Gavi and Pedri as their 8 and their 6. So bright future ahead of them, and they had a good win today. So they played Real Betis. And then other transfer news for them was signing to their academy Lucas Roman, a young Argentinian from Club Ferro, who had, I think he trained this week with the first team. So he's a young kid that they're hoping will make through the ranks and continue to develop. But yeah, I think all is good.
You also lost somebody else, right?
Potentially, and it's probably escaping me. So
went to Atleti.
That guy.
Memphis.
That is correct. Thank you. We did talk about that, I think, in the previous show. Yes. So Memphis Depay did depart. So that opened up a little bit of room there.
Are you guys like light on wingers now? It seems like you just, especially with Dembele getting hurt, it just seems like you guys are very light there.
Now that has been an issue with Dembele getting hurt. That kind of is. Who do you replace? You can't really replace Dembele because of his skill, his speed, his characteristics. But I don't know if they'll try to move Fati out, more wingers. Will they move Pedri up from the midfield, kind of play more of a wing role like in the past? Iniesta kind of went from that 8 role to more of a 11 winger role, but we will see what happens there. So, but all is good so far, as long as they keep winning, keep adding those 3 points, all is good. And Xavi Hernandez we trust. So he's took some time to get the ball rolling, but I think he's got the train moving in the right direction.
So speaking of train in the right direction, so my train went 2 directions. It went forward for a little bit, then it kind of stopped. I'm not sure if it's gonna go backwards. So we signed Lissandro Trossard from Brighton.
I love that.
which I really liked. I think we were an attacker short. So as a depth signing is great. Premier League experience.
He fit in running. I mean, right away you could tell he fit in with the team and fit in with the squad. So it's a damn good signing for you guys.
Martinelli has had kind of spotty form, I'll say, recently.
You're looking real Eddie Nketiah from last year.
Yeah, it's kind of hot and cold. So I like the Trossard signing, but then we do what you go. It's like being a kid at Christmas, and you're like, we're gonna get the PS5. The PS5 is on the way.
Caicedo,
the PS5, 2 controllers, all the games you want. Then you wake up Christmas Day and it's like, yo, it's a PS2 with 1 controller.
No games.
No game. Duck hunt. And we end up with Jorginho, however you pronounce it, it doesn't matter. Now, let me say this about the signing. On its surface, it's not bad because it's $12 million. He's a depth signing. He's the Partey backup. I never saw him really as like a quote unquote CDM, but supposedly I've never seen him in that role or like that type play. I've seen him more as that deep lying playmaker. But the point of this is this. Arsenal and Chelsea have had several dealings over the years, and it never really goes our way dealing with Chelsea. And this goes back to Ashley Cole. You could spin it forward to William Gallas, who signed with Arsenal and somehow was the number 10 playing center back, which was disgraceful. Peter Cech, they got Giroud off of us, and Giroud came back, scored the go-ahead goal in the Europa League final. And I don't even want to discuss against Cech, Agent Cech, Willian. So
David Luiz.
You have to get that one.
Yeah, I tried to.
Now here's the thing though, Ronnie. Like, and I'm not a huge J5 fan, and he was good when he first got there. He fit the mold for what we needed, but he quickly played out his welcome in my eyes, and his lack of adaptability really hurts a fluent team who likes to play quickly. With that being said, my issue for Arsenal there is they paid $12 million for someone who was expiring on contract in 6 months. That's the issue. Now I get it, it fits a need, but that's still a lot of money. I was really shocked to see that fee.
I think I don't want to call it a panic buy, but they had to do something, especially once, Partey has had his fitness issues. El Neni, who is your backup midfielder, is gone for the year. My issue becomes, though, is that if we have to play Xhaka and Jorginho together, all 5 of us in this call are faster than those 2. Everybody in this call is faster than
the one thing that I do like about that signing, though, is you essentially have a like for like replacement statistics wise for Caicedo. When you match up what they do and percentages wise, interceptions, passing completions, things like that, they're almost identical. So you could spend 80 million on Caicedo, or you could spend 12 million and reattack in the summer to get either Caicedo or someone else. It fits the mold, so it's not a terrible signing.
I appreciate
it definitely.
Yeah, I appreciate
definitely leaves a lot to desire.
I appreciate you trying to make it sound good. I appreciate it. I really do. But It's I will give it a shot. The thing I've said is when the Jorginho news came down, I was annoyed, but I was like, I'm just gonna look at the table. Table says I'm in first. I'm up 5 points. I've not been in this position in God knows how long. So I'm just gonna go to my happy place and just look at the table. Now, to the other end of the transfer window, we are talking about now the luxury end. This is the like you go to the airport, you see everybody trying to get through security, and then you have the people who have clear pass. You see everybody, eating the $6 Chick-fil-A nuggets, terrible food. And then there are people who are in the Delta Sky Lounge. You're chilling in the Sky Lounge. They get on the plane first. And that's Chelsea Football Club.
You know what's really ironic is that I have TSA pre-check and I am in the Delta Sky Lounge.
Why am I not surprised by this? One little bit.
If anybody who has traveled knows the TSA pre-check, the Delta Sky Lounge, first class seats. And that's Chelsea Football Club, who spent, I don't even know how much money they spent in January. I think it was
it was either high two or it was either like 280 or 380. One of the two.
383. 383.
Okay.
524 over the course of 2 windows.
So,
really? I thought 66.3 or something.
They just lose track. I understand. Lose track of the money. It's all the same. It's whatever. So
the amount of money at this point.
So here's my question for Jack and Zach, and this is really not on a troll thing, because I am legitimately curious about this. Considering the position you all are at in the league, do you all really? This is not me trying to be funny. I'm asking it legitimately. Because I would think you're not spending 300 mil, whatever the number is, for Europa League. Is the feeling like we will catch Newcastle or United for 4th?
I'll let the resident pessimist go first.
For context, they're 10 points behind. For context, they're 10 points behind those two clubs with the same amount of games played.
Okay, so 10 points back, 19 to play, 19, 18 to play.
So, ironically enough, I've actually had this conversation with Joe and Zach. Zach did not like my take on it at all, which he never really likes my take on anything, honestly. So that's right. Pretty, my personal opinion. So the question I posed to him was, I asked him, at this rate, do we essentially kind of abandon the Premier League season and put all of our eggs into UCL? Because at this rate, to me, that's the most likely way that we would qualify next year. Not saying that I think we can actually win it, with the current form and everything, but considering where we are in our actual table and where everybody else is above us and the consistency they've been playing with this season, I think UCL would be our best bet. You only have to win, like 2 games at a time. It's possible. Anybody can win it if you get the right form going and anything like that.
Right.
Zach does not agree with me, though. He does not agree.
I don't agree with you for the simple reason of what we talked about before the show came on. We can't register all of our new signings. If we could register Mudryk and Nani and Zhao and Enzo and Badiashile and there's 13 more that I could list off. If we could register all of them, then I'd be more inclined to do that. But to me, the more realistic path is to hunt down 10 points. Again, I don't know if it's possible. I really don't. And this is being me completely objective. That's a hard climb. But we also know that the second half of the Premier League generally is where the cream rises to the crop. You always have those those outliers. Look at Fulham. Fulham's a prime example. Brighton, Brentford last year. Brentford was right up there in fourth for a good chunk of the first half, and then they fell off. Now, I think Newcastle's here to stay. I said that when the takeover happened. I think Newcastle is not. They're not going anywhere. So I don't know if fourth is realistic. I'll tell you this though, and this is me being completely objective. As much as I don't want it to be a factor, in the wise words of Draco Malfoy, Potter has zero excuses not to make a run, not to make this a competition for a UCL spot. He cannot win the league. Obviously, that's not happening. However, after 16 or 19 signings, whatever it's been, you have no more excuses. Like, I get it. We've had an injury record unlike many I've ever seen in the terms of, length of injury, the quality of injury of who it's happened to. But man, it's hard to argue that you have an actual excuse as to why you can't put 3 points on the board instead of 1.
You know what's interesting is that if y'all somehow climb and get into that range of having a shot at the top 4 there, Chelsea Newcastle is on the final day of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So
6-pointer to end the season.
Yeah.
What I loved about Chelsea was, I don't know which was the funnier thing. It was, I don't know if it was the 28.5 year contract from Mudryk, whatever that was. That was pretty cool. I mean, the rules are the rules. The UEFA doesn't enforce fair play anyway, so whatever for that. Or was it slapping down 130 M's for Enzo Fernandez with an hour left in the window? Which I thought was a pretty gangster thing to do. Like, yeah.
I saw that coming. I told Joe and Zach, I said, I got a feeling we're going to spin the block for Enzo. I didn't. I will say I'm agreeing with you, because pulling that in like the last hour, yeah, that's insane. And paying more than the release clause to get them to take installments, yeah, that's pretty tough. I'm not going to say that I'm against what Bowley has done. I'm not going to say that. As far as I'm concerned, we are in a rebuild, as much as I hate that statement, and I don't want to say it about my club. I can't complain about all that he's done. Thank you, Roman, for leaving us debt-free so that we are able to do such things.
Just wait, I got a little nugget for you guys that are I can't wait to see your reaction. Continue.
But honestly, and Zach is probably going to side-eye me again. I'm going to be honest, man, and I've been consistent with this. I have never truly been on board with this coach signing. I'm going to be honest. I've gotten over Tuchel, so I'm not even going to press that button anymore. But never been sold on Potter. And the way things have kind of gone, it started off good in the beginning. And I get that injury plays a huge part. I definitely get that. I definitely get that it's a new system and everything. But I'm not going to be Chelsea a vote and say that he needs to go. I'm not going to say that. I want continuity. I'm tired of firing the coach every 2 years or the moment something doesn't go right. And the examples in the Premier League pretty much show that you need to have continuity with coaching, whether it's Pep, maybe not Klopp this season, but Klopp and even Arteta, because honestly, I was shocked that he wasn't fired before Ole Gunnar, honestly.
Me too.
At one point, I was truly convinced. I was like, he is gone the very next time he loses. But it's worked out, and I'm happy for y'all. Joe is going to hate me for this again. Let me just say, thank you so much for buying Jorginho. I truly hope y'all win the league. City can sit this one out. They have like 7 of them. I really hope y'all win it. Y'all deserve everything positive in this world, at least for this season. Next year, y'all can go back to being the club I hate. But for now, I'm forever grateful for you. Thank you.
I ain't never gonna say that shit.
I have a question for the Chelsea guys here, because I'm a bit confused from the outside looking in. This past month, all these signing, all the money they're dropping in a short amount of time, seems to me like it is a win at all cost, quickly, change things quickly. I'm confused on what is the project and what's the long-term goals that Chelsea's looking to develop here.
So I can understand how that looks that way. I've also kind of commented on our spending. I told them at one point, if I had it my way, we would have made less signings but more quality.
That's worked out well for us in the past.
Yeah. But I think the project is visibly there, even if some don't see it. We are building for the future. I don't even think it's necessarily win now, because I think if it was win now, I don't think Potter would still be here and we'd be on our second manager in one season. Especially with all the youth that we're signing. We're not signing players that we expect to start tomorrow. We're not signing players we expect to really even help out this season, if you're being honest. Even though we made 16 signings, I believe a good 3 or 4 of them we're not even going to see until the summer, until next season. So it's really not urgent for now, but it's new ownership. When you get new ownership, you want your own coach, you want to build the team you want to build, how you imagine it. And that's essentially what we're seeing. It's unfortunate because some good quality players who have been loyal to Chelsea and have been good for us are probably going to have to take a L on this one because of the situation at hand. But I think we're building for the future. In my opinion, that's the way I see it.
And what about the youth? What does the youth look like? Because if they're making all these signing, that's kind of telling me that they don't really got much coming up that they're planning on bringing into the first team.
We've made a good amount of youthful signings, like you said, Santos. Even like I brought up Fofana earlier before we started. He's, I think, only 19. We have a lot of youth within the team as is. That's also the catch. I mean, if you take somebody like we just signed Enzo, I believe he's only like 23. You have Reese, he's only like 24. We have a lot of youth already within the team. We just have to plug in a few roles. So in all honesty, I made a joke today that we're probably going to have to bring the loan army back at this point. But honestly, that's just football. It's always competition. If you're going to have to shine, make it through.
I get that. Now, I think my question is more so regarding what is already in the academy. I mean, it's okay that these guys are getting signed to maybe play some games in the academy and then get them up. But what do they have already there within the teenagers, 15, 16, 17-year-old kids? What are they developing?
So I'll defer.
So that's kind of where I was going with that question.
Got you. I'll defer to Zach for that one because he is definitely more in tune with that side of it than I am.
Okay, it's a great question, and that's the big hubbubaloo about everything is that with all these youthful signings, with the average age of the signing, I think is like 20 and a half years on the players that we've signed, over 19 signings, which is absurd. Now that's also including guys like Andre Santos, who's 18, Cesare Casadei, who was Inter's prized possession in the youth academy. He is 18. What does that say about the, Cobham, who is known for being one of the best academies in the world? We're already starting to see effects of that. One of our premier strikers in the youth academy. Jude Sunsup Bell has already decided to leave, and he signed for Tottenham. So he was coming up on an expiring contract, and he's left. Charlie Webster is another guy who is he's on loan at Wolves right now, and they tried to sign him permanently, similar to Hakim Ziyech's deal. The computer system malfunctioned. I don't know what it is, but Chelsea blessed off on his sale, and he was going to be heading out. I think this is Bowley's way of saying that yes, we have a lot of great players in the academy, and we're truthfully we're seeing some of them. Lewis Hall has made a name for himself already as a left back, and Chelsea's in a conundrum because now they have 3 players who are all, you know, you have Ben Chilwell, you have Mark Cucurella, and then Lewis Hall. So do we see one of them depart this summer? Because of the fact that Lewis Hall, who is 19, has already proven in the Premier League that he can hold his own and do it quite well. He gave City fits in that cup game. Now, granted, it wasn't a full, City side, just like it wasn't a full Chelsea side, but the quality is there. Excuse me. I think it's one of those things that Bowley is coming into this and he's like, okay, I see we have the best academy. Now I'm going to bring in the best outside competition and just stuff the academy full. And we're going to let the cream rise to the crop. And those players that are cut out for this are going to make it, and they're going to bust into the first team, or they're going to get sold, or, they're going to fall off to the wayside, and we're going to find out that they weren't really as good as we thought that they were. Mm-hmm. The project is clear. Bowley has decided that the way Roman did business was not what he wanted to continue. Roman was notorious for big shiny object. I want it, and I don't care how much it cost. Now, don't get me wrong. I am forever thankful for Roman. And here's my little tidbit of information for you. Does anybody know what a factoring company is? So a factoring company is kind of like a bank. What they are is, so in Enzo's case, Benfica were hard on for the release clause only. Chelsea wanted to amortize the money over, the 8-year contract that Enzo has just signed, which factors out to $12.2 million a year over the 8-year contract for his fee, so Enzo's fee this year is a wash with Jorginho, which is a win in my book. But basically what happened is Bowley went to this factoring company and said, hey, you front the money and I'll pay you instead. So Bowley has successfully navigated his way around financial fair play again. Benfica got all their money up front. So they got all $130 million. And Bowley is allowed to amortize this deal over the 8-year contract. Now, here's the best part. That factoring company is owned by Roman Abramovich.
Why not? Of course. Why not?
The gift that keeps on giving.
Listen.
Nice. Well done.
Wow.
This is why this sport never fails to entertain me, because of that. Why not?
Yep.
That is an ending to a Netflix series right there.
Of course.
The ending is that you find out that Abramovich was behind it all.
Yeah, that is. I mean, why not? Why not? I mean, did we really think Roman was just gonna go that quietly? He was just gonna walk off and just, okay, you got me here, guys. No.
Well, in true fashion, you have the the meme behind me. It's not about the money. It's about sending a message.
Now, my favorite transfer Diego gave us a good one in the pre-show, but my favorite transfer story by far, Chelsea related, for all the wheelings and dealings, my man Hakeem Ziyech can't get his move to Paris because somebody ain't pressed the send button on the fax machine.
I'm hurt. That one hurt me. Won't lie.
3 times.
Not once, not twice, but 3 times. First of all, who's using the fax machine in 2023 to do real live business? Number one. And number two, you send the wrong document. Like Chelsea, like if I'm Hakeem Ziyech, I come back to Cobham for training today. I wish you would make me do some cone drill. I wish you would.
I don't envy Graham one bit come tomorrow when Hakeem shows up, because I genuinely feel bad for him. I realize this is a business, and these stunts employees are all part of it, but at some point, like, you've come to the realization that Hakeem Ziyech is not in your plans long term. Otherwise you wouldn't have signed Madueke. So what harm do you have of getting him off of your books for 6 months and I don't know if it was just a straight loan for the 6 months, or if it was a mandatory buy, an optional buy, or what it was. But regardless, that's 6 months of wages that you don't have to pay. And that's, all of that stuff is net positive.
Yeah, it was a pure loan, no backlogs at all, pure loan.
And if I feel bad for that situation, because could you imagine being a player? You put yourself in the player, your agent comes or your representative tells you, hey, listen, you're going to get the opportunity to go play PSG with Messi, Neymar, Mbappe, Sergio Ramos,
Hakimi.
Marco Verratti. You are going berserk. I don't think you could land on a better team with better teammates with the quality that they have. And then your representative has to give you a call back and say, hey, sorry.
Not
Didn't
only
go through.
You flew me to Paris. I got on the plane and flew there.
I did not have that bit of information. That just makes it even worse.
The worst part is that he did it on his own dime. He wanted to speed the process up, so he flew to Paris on his own dime to try and facilitate this on deadline deal. And, did the medical, did everything right, did everything that's asked of, a player when, you're trying to secure a move. And, the first 2 times the document wasn't signed properly, and the 3rd time didn't beat the deadline. Like, whatever comes in the summer, I don't care what the offer is.
Give him his move.
Hakeem deserves to go wherever he wants to go.
Yeah, give him his move and don't.
Give that man what he deserves, because that's and I get it. It's not like he's a club legend and he's done so much for the club, but he served the club faithfully. He has never complained. You don't see him, being an issue with coaching staff, with other players. And so, like, I don't know that. Again, I get it. It's a business, but it feels dirty, and I don't like it.
You guys did. And then you've got, now obviously we didn't end up landing Caicedo, but it was still funny because my man Caicedo wrote a whole love ballad on Saturday night. My man Caicedo went full-blown Justin Bieber, full-blown Justin Timberlake. He put every love ballad bar you can muster. He even changes his Instagram profile picture to his debut against Arsenal. The full treatment. And now look at you.
It's almost like when Mudryk had posted that him watching the Arsenal match on his Instagram story, and then 24 hours he's in London, but he's wearing blue.
24 hours
That
later.
shit was wild.
Yo. The stuff around the sign. I mean, Chelsea, that's why I said Chelsea's signings are even the most ridiculous part of all this. The ridiculous of Ziyech, the ridiculous of Mudryk, the ridiculous of Caicedo. Joe's Man City. Oh, Cancelo, you're not happy? How about this? We'll just send you to a Champions League rival because we're just tired of you. How about that?
Yeah.
How about you just leave? You just go there. This sport,
And the
man.
team that Pep coached. Pep came from Bayern.
Yeah.
He didn't care. He's like, get out of here.
Get out of here.
He thought he was
I
going
actually
to
found
flex on Pep Guardiola. Like, if you don't play me, I ain't gonna be. I'm leaving.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Mhm.
See you later, buddy.
Like the amount of players who have tried to flex on Pep, and it never works. It didn't work for Ibrahimovic. It didn't work for Yaya Toure. It didn't work for Samuel Eto'o. It doesn't work. You can't flex on him at all.
For Yaya though, I mean, they still ain't won a UCL. I mean, I argue he's kind of winning that one right now.
He's still winning now.
He held on to him, but Pep when he got to Barcelona, you got to remember he held on to Eto'o because the players talked to him to relax after he gave Ronaldinho the boot. Like, who just goes into a club and says, your best player, the FIFA player of the year, Ballon d'Or, World Cup champion. Hey,
bye.
The exit door is that way.
The door's that way, sir.
What? And you come from coaching the youth academy? This is your first year?
No.
But that's his personality.
Yeah.
So when he started cleaning house with Ronaldinho, Deco, he got to Eto'o. He was in mid-swing, and the rest of the players caught him and said, hey, you need to relax. We need a striker. We need someone to score the goals.
Crazy. So with all the activity, I'm gonna start with Joe. With everything that's happened now, what is for you a good season constitutes this? Whether it's trophies, what will you say? Okay, this was a successful season after all the smoke is now cleared.
For Man City, a successful season has to end with some kind of silverware at this point. If there's no silverware, it's not a good season, regardless of how many goals Erling Haaland scores, whether he breaks a record or not for a number of goals scored in the Premier League. Got to be a trophy somewhere there. It needs to either be the Premier League again, for the third time running, or the Champions League. There's got to be one of those two, and maybe the FA Cup attached to that, but there's got to be some kind of trophy, major trophy for a City season to be considered successful in my book.
Would you really consider it a success if at the end of the year the only thing you hoist is the FA Cup?
No, that's why I mentioned the Premier League and Champions League first.
Diego,
I don't think we're just going to be lifting the FA Cup. I think we'll get either the Champions League or the Premier League.
You wishful thinking.
Yeah, boy, I love the optimism.
Diego,
4 to 5 years, man. 4 to 5 years.
I'm hoping they win the Premier League too, because that parlay that I have sitting at a cool $500,000 really needs it. So
We got you.
Diego, what's a successful season for Barcelona after all this?
Well, I think they just came off of beating Real Madrid in the Spanish Super Cup. So I think they're off to a good start, but they set the tone for also lifting La Liga. I think that's the expectation, is to win the league title along with the Spanish Super Cup, and then they're still in Europa, so we'll see what happens there. But hardware winning the league title is a successful season, and I think next year, even if, say, the second half of the season doesn't continue as follows, but have to stay in the top four, have to make the Champions League. The Champions League is the competition that Barcelona belongs in and needs to fight for every season, along with fighting for a league championship every season. That's the expectation, and hopefully it works out. But right now things are good. Let's pray that things continue going this way. We have to recover some of the like Dembele got hurt, and having him is crucial. So get guys healthy for the second half of the season.
I tell you what, Barcelona. We laughed at this a couple months ago, and it's kind of not that funny anymore. Barcelona and Man United in the Europa League next round all of a sudden has become really interesting.
No, you want to know what? I'm sorry, but you want to know what really threw me off today, and I really had to sit there and think about it. I really sat there and said to myself that Man U versus Newcastle should be a really good game in this final. And that really bothered me. That really bothered me. Like, I can't believe this this Newcastle thing is driving me.
Did you see that? Speaking of Newcastle, did you see that meme? And it was a Juve and Newcastle.
Oh,
and
it was
said,
like
we're the new black and white striped uniform in the Champions League. Get used to it.
Listen, another thing that we didn't get to. More shenanigans with Juventus. negative 15 points. Another.
And there may be more coming, because they're currently being investigated for the whole player wages thing. I don't know if you guys saw that.
What happened with the player wage?
So during this whole time, they were going through this club crisis, and all these first team players went on record saying that they were taking a lesser wage to help offset the books for Juve. Well, they did an investigation and found out that was the in the words of Maury, the lie detector test determined that was a lie. And so they were essentially cooking their books, saying that they were paying Ronaldo and Bonucci and all these guys that were supposed to be taking half of their salary, were actually taking their full salary. And according to UEFA rules, if found guilty, not only will Juve be automatically relegated, all players that were involved in that scandal will also be suspended. They didn't say for how long, but that means guys like Cristiano Ronaldo, he would automatically be suspended because he was there during that time. And that doesn't matter what club they play for. So it's a wild situation that is definitely there's more coming on there.
Okay. All right.
Man.
What's
Ronnie,
up? Juve,
let me ask you,
is
Ronnie.
just, man.
Tell you
It's a show, man. But Ronnie, I want to ask you, what's successful for you guys? Is it winning the league? Is it, if you look back and you're like, okay, say City surpasses you guys and lifts the trophy, will you look back and say that this was a successful season?
If we're up like this, it's not success. If we're out of 2 cup competitions, we're out of both domestic cups, we're out already.
Samesies.
So for me, if we get surpassed by City, and as much as I abhor the competition, they have to win the Europa League.
Yeah.
Even if we get surpassed by City and we're second or third, which is still automatic Champions League spot, they have to come home with something, because the target changes when you play that well. The expectation changes. Like, that you can't say, "Oh, we're happy with 4th" when you were 10 points up. 4th no longer. That's no good now. So if we get caught by City, if we get surpassed by City, they have to win the Europa League. Have to. Because if they don't, everything then becomes, why didn't you pay the money for Caicedo in January?
Also, y'all would be one of the few teams to lose or not win at all with that type of lead at the winter break.
Absolutely. It was I think, I don't know what the stat is, but basically, if you're up at the break, regardless as to what your point lead is, I think it's like 15 of the last 20 have won the league if you were up on January 1st. So if we get caught by City, I will be very disappointed, but that means we damn well better win the Europa League, boring as that competition is. And it is a god-awful competition, but we better win it.
It's better than the Europa Conference League, which Chelsea might be playing in next year.
And that competition got a lot more exciting with the likes of United and Barcelona being in there, and you guys all within 2 of which are in first place in their domestic league, and 1 of which who's in the Champions League spot for next year. So at least there's some name recognition this year in the Europa.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be some must-watch TV later on in these knockout rounds. So
I'm definitely turning
it definitely makes
with United. I usually watch Europa League games, but that one I'm definitely watching.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say, is that it actually makes it worthwhile to watch. I don't have to watch, and this is no disrespect to these clubs, but I don't have to watch Sheriff Tiraspol versus, Shakhtar Donetsk. Like, it's just not, like, and again, that's not to disrespect those clubs, because, they're fine organizations, but it's just not the level of football that I want to watch. And that's not the kind of, game that I want to watch. So
at the end of the day, nobody wants to play in a competition that's decided while you're at work. And you look at the Europa League final, is Thursdays at like 1:00 in the afternoon. Nobody, no.
No, that's very true. I watched the one when we played Arsenal with my friend who's an Arsenal fan, and it was definitely like a Wednesday. And I was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, you know what? You're right, Jack. It wasn't. They played Thursday the whole competition, and then the final played on Wednesday for some reason.
Yep. Baku.
Hey,
it was the only TV slot that was available.
Bruh. They had reruns of Guiding Light on, so they had to fit it in on Wednesday at 1.
Yeah, it was nobody. No.
I feel like we're gonna get 2 very different answers when Jack and Zach answer the same question that we just did.
I was just gonna segue there, so I'll let you go ahead, Joe.
Is this the season just in January? Hasn't that not been successful enough?
No, because so no. But honestly, with putting this season and how it's gone into perspective, I honestly don't have any outlandish goals for us. We're out of everything at this point. The only competition we are in that we stand a chance is UCL, because we're in the knockout stages. We are not winning the league. We are out of the FA Cup. We are out of the Carabao Cup. At this point, I just have to be happy with my brand new signings. A good season at this point for me. If we can somehow manage to place in UCL spots, if we can make Zakaria permanent, if we somehow can talk Felix into staying on a permanent deal. Oh, and one last thing. I've been waiting.
Oh no.
One last thing. No. You're not gonna be mad.
Let me
Get this motherfucker off my team. Get him off my team. He can stay at Inter. Please.
You know what's so wild about that? You all have signed so many players. I forgot João Felix was on Chelsea.
Well, that's because he played one match and got a red card. So, that's unfortunate.
And I definitely forgot. Lukaku is still on loan. Wow.
And they need to. I don't know why that wasn't permanent from the jump. I really don't.
Well,
he doesn't need to come.
The latest rumblings are that Inter do not want him next year. So
find a new home then.
Now, agreed. I'm going to say that. I want him to leave my beloved club. However, this man that's also in a Chelsea jersey bitches more than anybody I know about not having an actual number 9. There's your number 9 in a different system with different players around him. Could be successful. I don't want him here, but you don't have to sign him. You already have him. If Inter do not want him, run him back for preseason. Run him back, and see how he adapts to the squad. See how he does, and go from there. I don't. I think we all know that Aubameyang's not going to be around next year. Other than that, Broja has a long road to recovery with a torn ACL. He'll be out the majority of all the summer and the start of next season. So, you are stuck with Kai as a 9 who isn't a 9. You are stuck with Lukaku. And you have Dart, who you just signed. David Datro Fofana. Or you play who we have not even mentioned.
Yes, I know. I was just about to say,
we have not even mentioned this name at all.
He's definitely an option.
But it's been a confirmed name by Fabrizio Romano numerous times that Christopher Nkunku will be a Chelsea player this summer, and that's been a deal that's been signed for a long time. So you could play him as a 9, although he's much better as a 10.
Yes.
Chelsea have options at that 9 spot. Not to mention you could play João Felix there if you make him a permanent signing. Like the options are there. So there's that.
Question for Zach and Jack, for our viewers. With all these names, with all these options, what happens with Christian Pulisic?
So let me say that.
Okay, bye.
Unfortunately, let's start here
because we have. Oh, there you go. We do have U.S. Men's national team viewers, so give them.
I love Pulisic. I truly do. Zach does not care that he's probably going to be leaving. He has kind of been asking for it all season.
And last.
Yes. I'm a little indifferent on it. I feel like he never truly got a really good run at the team of consistently being the starter amongst playing in different systems.
Because he can't stay healthy.
And that part too. But I also understand at the end of the day, that one, this is a business. He has not necessarily done anything to really make him or make anyone say like, no, he has to stay. And two, with all these signings, I just don't see where he necessarily fits in at this point.
I can think of eight players off the top of my head that I would play out on the wings before Christian Pulisic.
Oh, I know. And I would much rather root for Tottenham to win the UCL than to have Lukaku play in my team again. I will go without a number 9, Zach. I will. I don't care.
Right.
We can play like City did last year. I'll do it. Like, no, he can't play for us. I'm sorry. No.
In all honesty, like I want him to move on for a myriad of reasons. One, I don't think he's Chelsea material, but I don't know if he's Premier League material. His body is too frail to hold up to the rigors of what the Premier League is. He did well at Dortmund. He did well in the Bundesliga. He would do well in Spain. I think he needs to find a new path. And truthfully, I want it for the simple reason is that's the best thing for the U.S. men's national team. You know, above all things, Chelsea. Pulisic needs out because he needs playing time and he needs to become healthy and stay healthy. And that is not going to happen in the Premier League.
Yeah, got to be a regular. Got to be a regular.
Yeah.
Because if the U.S. ever wants to be anything, then they have to stay healthy and be consistent. And Joe posted it today, but I don't care who the new head coach is. I don't care who the new general manager is. I don't care who the new director of fucking USSF is. If you are not knocking down the door for Balogun, you are worthless to me, because he is literally leading Ligue 1 in goals. He's playing for Reims, who were god awful, which is another awesome story. If you're not familiar with that, they have an English manager. Well, he's actually half Belgian, but he doesn't even have his FIFA coaching license.
Yeah.
So Reims are paying $22,000 in fines every single match that he coaches. But he became a guru because he played Football Manager. So for those of you that don't know what Football Manager is, it's a video game where it's like coaching tactics and like it's very simulation based. It's very intense. It's not like FIFA. Like you don't control the players. It's literally simulation based. You input the tactics you run, the players you want, how they, attack, how they make their runs. And the dude is so good at it that he's now coaching a Ligue 1 team, and he hasn't lost in 12 matches. They are no longer in the relegation zone, and they just tied PSG
in the last minute. I watched
Living
that
the
game.
dream, bro.
Yep.
It was insane. Last minute.
But yeah, we need to be full court press, all guns blazing to get that kid to commit to the U.S.
There's your 9. There is literally the one thing that everybody wants. Because I watched those friendlies. I don't know if Diego, you did.
I watched both.
Not impressed with
I did.
Guys.
I did not watch.
It also
not
shows,
impressed with him at all.
It also shows you that they're not a lot of great 9s, period.
Agreed.
Like, look at it. After Lewandowski and Erling Haaland, how many great ones do you have?
Well,
Don't
there's
forget
one
Jesus.
guy that I told Zach that I want if we could spend a little bit more money on one more player. He plays for Napoli. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
He's not great though. He's not. Okay. I like Victor Osimhen, but the man's only done it in one league, and he's doing it in a league where pace isn't isn't the main thing. Like, do, to quote our good friends Jimmy and Aaron, do it in the UCL final. Do it in a different league. If Oshiman goes to a different league and continues and does well, okay, maybe I'll buy it. But doing it at Napoli in the Serie A just doesn't warrant me calling him great. Karim Benzema, he's great.
Okay. I could. Okay. I'll relax. You can.
What about? Let's add in another great number 9, Olivier.
Okay.
Olivier.
Olivier may.
Lord,
This is gonna
Lord
get me in trouble.
Olivier?
Olivier may be in the top 5 target strikers of all time.
It's crazy that, and I don't know how this sounds. I don't really want to call him a great striker, and I say that with all respect because I much rather refer to him as like the most underrated or unappreciated striker for how great and like for everything that he's done. Like I just feel like that's more fitting because he doesn't get talked about as much as he should.
Now, Jack, you tell me this all the time. 2 things can be true at the same time.
That is true. That I love that quote.
I think that Olivier is 100% the most underrated, successful striker of all time. All the man does is find the back of the net when it counts and when he needs to, and
even his spectacular
some of the most. Yeah, like that. I'll never forget that damn scorpion goal that he had at Arsenal. Or that bicycle kick that he had in the UCL with Chelsea. You know, like
man,
the man just has results.
Even the City kick to beat Arsenal.
So I would absolutely put him in the top 5 target strikers of all time.
I can respect that. I miss him, yo. I miss him.
I miss him too. I do. You know, everybody is just a guy that you just like. He's not an all-time great player. He's not world, but you just have an affinity for this guy. That's Olivier.
I love him, man. Like
Death taxes and Olivier Giroud goals.
Death taxes Giroud. You know? So we definitely gonna have to have Jack as a regular on the show because too much fun. Too much fun. See the man behind the screen, behind Ron Swanson's. Any closing thoughts?
You get 2 very different Chelsea fans when you have him and I on the same show. So that's always interesting.
The contrast is definitely working for me. Definitely working. Any final thoughts, fellas, before we wrap up?
I just want to add too a little tidbit for our viewers that I mentioned earlier on our Facebook post. I think some of you saw, but on Enzo's transfer, Argentinian club River Plate still owned 25% of his contract. So that 130 million, they're getting 25% of that. So
it's like 40 like 42 or something like that.
Yeah, something
comes
out 41, 42 million is going to River Plate for Enzo's transfer. So well done, River, which I hate to admit it, but well done.
that also beats their highest transfer record too, right? Wasn't their record like 37 mil?
Mm-hmm.
The Enzo,
I saw that as well.
Enzo is the most expensive Argentine player of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Which is insane to say when people like Maradona and Messi exist.
It's literally the exact same conversation that Diego and I had.
Yeah. So, well, inflation and all of that included, but Maradona's transfer from Barcelona to Napoli was at the time a record transfer, but has then been surpassed several times. But
42 and he's not even on your roster.
they kept a hold. They kept a hold of 25% of his.
That's a hell of a
his
signing
contract.
clause.
That's foresight. Like they knew.
Okay, as much as they've pissed me off over the course of this past window, can we please just give a shout out to Benfica?
Man,
Because you look at the all-time highest transfers of all time, they own the top two. Because okay, I take that back. You have Neymar and he doesn't count, and Mbappe. But other than that,
Neymar doesn't count.
No, Neymar doesn't count. But like João Felix, his 145 million when he was 18, to Atleti, and now 130 mil for Enzo, who they paid. And this is the shit that pisses me off as a Chelsea fan. Not even 6 months ago, they paid 10 million for him. Like that's a little frustrating, but
World Cup just had to take that price out.
Yep.
Yeah, and so with Enzo, he played his youth academy ball at River, and then he went to a team, Defensa y Justicia in Argentina, and that deal, they only took a portion. That's why River held 25%, and then from there is when he went to Benfica. So holding on to that 25%, and then of course he had an outstanding World Cup. Price tag goes up, and now they're making bank, because I think Benfica only paid 40 million originally, I think, for Enzo. Or am I saying that incorrectly?
I think from what I saw, something today that said,
Was it probably less than that?
It was less. It was 10 million. It was 10.
Was
10
it just
million.
the 10 million? Okay.
10 mil.
Yep. So the return on investment.
ROI for you finance guys. Also, let's just appreciate the man that's in the back of my screen right now.
Big money.
So many people, so many Chelsea fans were worried that after Roman left, that the money wouldn't be there, that we would be destined for mid-table, forever, fighting relegation.
I'm glad he threw that forever there, because we are mid-table.
Here we go. But it's nice to see that when your club goes through a tumultuous time, that you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. He's dedicated the money to the academy. He's dedicated the money to the women's team. He smashed both all-time women's transfer records to bring in new players for their women's team. He's dedicated to finding a solution for the Stamford Bridge redevelopment. And it may end up costing us 5 years of our time to play at fucking Wembley, but whatever it is, it's nice to see. And I get it. He's far from conventional, and he's definitely doing things as an American, and that, that's big, bad, scary. Americans ruin everything. But you can never say that the man isn't playing by his own rules. He's doing it his way, and damn the torpedoes.
Making everybody look stupid in the process too.
Y'all certainly learned your lesson from Barcelona in the summertime.
Yeah. Not selling TV rights.
No, I'm talking about hijacking everybody's fucking deals.
Oh yeah.
Hurt people. It happened to us all summer, so
Yes, yeah.
Well, yeah. On top of those TV rights, also to offset and open up space, they sold debt to Chinese investors so they could get their signings like Kunde on the team.
He ain't never
So-
did that one. Jesus.
Mortgage the
It's just
future.
a
it's the time
disaster.
now.
Just a disaster. But hey, we're at top of the table right now. Let's go.
I mean,
Hey.
It's working.
you could always be Juventus right now. You
Mhm.
could always be.
Yes.
That is true.
All Barcelona, you win the league or you win Europa, you right back in it.
That's all you gotta do.
Because there are certain clubs, and then we're gonna put in a certain club. If you're Barcelona, Man United, you're never far away.
All right, real quick, because I'm sure we're gonna get off here. I gotta know. I want to hear everybody's predictions. Who's gonna win the top? Let's do the top 3 leagues, because let's not kid ourselves and think that there's gonna be any other outcome other than
Yeah.
PSG winning.
That.
PSG's got that.
Yeah.
So, Ronnie, who's gonna win? Who's gonna win the other 3 leagues?
I do believe Barcelona's gonna win La Liga.
That
I don't-
grin Diego has right now.
I don't see how
Good answer.
Yeah.
I don't see how anybody catches Napoli at this point.
Yeah, I was gonna say we kind of only have 2 leagues because
Yeah.
Juve was second, and now with them gone, it's like a 15-point gap or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's done. This is I'm gonna take the coward's way out. Coward's way out. Ask me in. Ask me April. Ask me middle of March.
Nope. I want to know right now.
No, man. No. No, man. Okay, I'll like this. Give me Arsenal, but this is strictly an emotional, what my heart is saying decision.
Nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
That my head is saying, maybe not.
Joe.
Man City is going to go for a treble, so we're going to have our 3rd in 3 years.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say you were gonna
No.
sweep the trophies.
No, didn't say
I
that.
was like, well, damn.
No, but I think the head-to-heads with Arsenal will be the big difference maker, and I think we'll raise.
got them twice, right?
Yeah, we still haven't played each other in the league. We played in the FA Cup, and that's it. So I think that our pedigree in history recently, the guys in our squad know how to come from behind. They've done it before to win a title.
Awesome.
So, so I think Man City wins, and it's hard to go against Barcelona right now because I think they're in better form than Madrid. And even though Madrid have a game in hand, if they win that one, they're still 5 points back. But Barcelona has been so solid defensively. I don't think that.
Yeah.
I think they'll take care of business. And the other 3, Germany, Italy, and France, all are pretty much wrapped up at this point. So
Runaway.
yes, because Napoli's 13 points up already.
Yeah.
So that's a foregone conclusion at this point. And
What's
we know what Bayern does in Germany, and we know what PSG does. And
What's Bayern's lead? Do you have it up?
2 seconds. Bayern is only up a point on Union Berlin, and 2 on Leipzig, and 3 on Dortmund. So theirs is very close. However,
We know how that went.
Yeah, we know how that goes, though.
we know how that's going to end up.
Okay.
Their goal differential is 20 points higher than their next closest competitor, and they've only lost once.
Yeah,
So-
but that if memory serves me correct, that goal differential was established very early. Their last like 5 or 6 matches, they've been fucking dreadful.
Well, they've drawn their last 3, so that's not helped much. But nobody else is really putting a lot of goals past anybody except for Leipzig.
now? Did Bayern won today?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. Because Zhao,
they were up 3-0 at one point, so I assumed they won.
okay, yeah, Cancelo, I saw had an assist with his first game.
I don't believe that was
for
a
Bayern.
league match. I think that was a cup match.
That was a cup match.
That was a
Yeah.
cup.
Yep.
Barca,
Gotcha.
Bayern is, I believe it when I see it.
All right, Jack.
What
Who you got?
is it? What 10 in a row? 9?
Me, so I'm actually quote unquote, I guess, like a Madrid enthusiast. But at this point, it seems as though Barca kind of has that wrapped up. As much as I want to have faith in Madrid, I don't know. I don't think that they'll right that ship. Maybe they have a chance at UCL, but La Liga is pretty much done in my head. I'm picking Arsenal, and I don't care how that sounds. And I know Joe probably hates that. I don't think that this is Arsenal of old anymore. Arteta has finally seemed to have gotten his team together that he's wanted and has them playing the way that he wants them to play. Albeit
And they have J5.
You know, the main man
over the
behind
line.
it. You know, they got somebody with UCL championship experience, so
Yeah.
all the
I
difference.
bet they all lined up to see his UCL medal.
Oh God!
But I think they just get it right this year. Even though they play City twice, I still think as far as everything else goes in the table, I think, put it this way, they can beat everybody else in the table convincingly. I think City is their true only opponent right now. Nobody has really been able to get past Newcastle. They did it easily. I think City is their really only competition. And if City continue to slip here and there, I think Arsenal may have a scare, but I think they hold on to win it all. And I think Klopp leaves at the end of the season.
Arsenal's got a great 11, but after that, it gets scary. So I think that catches up to them. That's my reasoning.
Well, we definitely on future episode, we're gonna see how this all shakes out. I'm looking forward. It feels like we haven't had Champions League matches in forever.
We haven't because of the World Cup.
We haven't had Champions League, so I'm looking forward to the return of that. Barcelona.
But even normally, okay, that's what it is. Because normally we would have finished the group stage in December. That's what it is.
Yeah, they had to condense the group stage quite a bit.
Yeah, I hated it.
Diego, did you make your picks already?
Did not make any picks.
Sure.
I think I'm crossing my fingers. Barcelona continues their current form, wins La Liga. I actually, because I like watching the English Premier League. I liked Arsenal, like watching their games, Man City, Man United. I think all the big clubs, watch a little bit of all of them. But I think I would like to see Arsenal win this league, add a little bit of a change. I know, sorry, Joe, and I've always watched probably more of Man City because of Aguero playing there, and now Alvarez, and of course Pep coaching. But from an entertainment point of view, putting that aside, I think it adds a little bit of good competition, good change for the English Premier League. And then I think Napoli has it wrapped up. PSG, well, they'll do what PSG does and win France. And I think, Bayern, although I might have to keep a closer eye on the Bundesliga. That does look like it's interesting and a tight race up at the top. So I have to keep an eye on that. But I'm also going to add, for some of our viewers who are even interested, I have been posting more recently now that Argentina's league has started back up. They've only had week 1, but let's go Boca. The defending league champions won their first game, but there's always interesting races. So keep an eye on. I'll be posting the tables and some updates.
Good, because I am 100% going to be tuning in this year as much as I can.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think I'm going to find a team. I don't know who it's going to be, but
whoever. Yeah,
I'm going to find a team.
I'm
going to expand the horizon.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting clubs, a lot of things about Argentinian clubs that people, may not know about. But club like Independiente is the club that has the most Copa Libertadores. So that is the equivalent of the UEFA Champions League in South America. Argentinian club Independiente has the most historically. That is a club where you have players like Sergio Aguero, who played his youth academy and development there. So keep an eye on, and yeah, I'd like to then eventually see who you pick, Zach.
I'm definitely gonna pick a team because I just can't do one more year of even anything remotely MLS related. So I need to find some sort of new rooting interest in this.
Finally got tired of diet soccer, huh? Finally got tired of it. Good.
I wouldn't even call it diet soccer, man. Like it's just dreadful.
Yeah, I went to a game last year. Horrible.
Ronnie, before we jump out of here, you guys have a 2-week stretch at the end of April into the beginning of May, where it's City, Chelsea, Newcastle, and then Brighton.
Who's that?
You guys. It starts with City on April 26th, and then it's Chelsea, Newcastle, and Brighton.
How many of those are home?
It's 2 away and 2 home.
Yeah,
Which ones are which?
We're away.
Chelsea and Brighton are away, and I think Man City and Newcastle are home for them.
And I think we play City. The rescheduled match is like in 2 weeks.
Yeah, Wednesday the 15th. So 2 weeks from now.
Oh, joy! Happy Valentine's Day.
Hey, exactly. Y'all got the advantage on that one though, because we play on Sunday. You guys play on Saturday, so you got an extra day of rest.
Advantage playing you. Stop. Stop.
I will vary it up a little bit. Give me Barca. Give me City. And give me Red Bull.
Ooh. Sig. That's that Timo talking in you, that's all.
Truthfully, I've been and this is the curse of being able to legally sports bet in Ohio now. I've been watching a lot more Bundesliga, and Red Bull has been a team that I have now bet on numerous times. They're a lot of fun to watch, man. They're a lot of fun to watch, and they're a lot more talented than I think they're getting credit for.
Because they had such a slow start to the season. That's why.
And truthfully, they've been without Nkunku for a hot minute, so they get him back, and they're gonna be trouble.
Damn Camavinga. God damn Camavinga.
I think we did it, fellas.
And there you have it, folks. Remember, Stoppage Time Football Club is this Facebook group, the YouTube page. Subscribe, notifications on. It's gonna be a wild second half of the season. We're here for all of it. Zach, Joe, Diego, Jack, Ron.